hoodie. Hey everybody, Todd McFarlane. Today we're going to do a quick drawing for you of a character I co-created years ago called Venom, right? He's going to be the opposite of me, right? So I'm white and I've got black eyes. He's black and he's got white eyes. So let's see if we can get to it here, right? So we'll go as fast as we can because I know you guys don't have a lot of time. What the heck? Let's do it. What the heck? I need a brush, Todd. All right, let's go. So our boy has big eyes here. We cut him in, a little spawny like. We'll fill in the blacks here real quick in a moment. But we'll just do some cuts up in here so it looks like he's mad at us. And then we'll come up in here. Draw the rest of the eyes. Again, give him some wrinkles. Now, the strange thing was years ago when I was creating Venom with David McFarlane, who was the writer on the book at that time. Here's the funny story. I didn't know that the character was going to be a human inside of it. At that time, it was a character, his name was Eddie Brock, some journalist or something like that. And so I just thought since it was an alien costume, it would be a big, cool monster that would be in it. And it would be something that could attack Spider-Man. But what ended up happening was after I created the look of Venom, it was only then that David said, oh, by the way, Todd, I forgot to tell you, Venom is actually a human. Now, it actually is a happy accident because if David had given me that information earlier, I'm guaranteeing you I wouldn't have made him as big as he was because I thought he was an alien. I just went in there and thought I could do something super crazy with him. And David then came back and gave me the information later, and I go, I kind of like the bigness of him. One of the things I thought was lacking in the Sam Raimi movie version of him, I didn't think he was sort of big enough. So if we go here, give some eyes, let's get some of the key stuff in here. Get the eyes in here. I'll come in with the blacks when I need to. But now the thing that's sort of kind of cool about him too is he's got those big, long, sharp teeth. Right? I don't want to say they're shark teeth because they're super long, but they come up here and they almost sort of touch the rim of his actual eyeball up in here. So let's go a little bit bigger here. And now we got to go quick, right? So now the teeth are going to be small. And if you're doing teeth, make sure that you make them erratic. So you got small ones, big ones, right? You got some that are sort of tiny, whatever. Because if you think of him as an animal, which I do, then he hasn't been to the dentist and he hasn't been flossing. So some of this stuff was just going to be completely sort of messed up. So it doesn't matter if your teeth aren't in the right order, right? As you're doing it, doesn't matter. Just throw teeth in here, throw some gums in here, just get some cool stuff. Just get it down for right now. It eventually all sort of turn out on you, right? Let's go a little bit smaller. Now, the one thing we want to do is that he has a big overbite. One of the things I'm sort of fond of drawing is guys with sort of big teeth with big overbites. So we'll come up in here, do the big U right here, right? It's just the big upside down U. And then what you can do is it gives you the guideline. Then you put your big teeth in first, and then you can then start putting your little teeth in, and it starts to create the shape of the mouth up in here, right? So now you can get the teeth in very quickly, and now you've got this U. So you have this, and if you want to delineate the top teeth just a little bit, you can again come in here, give it a little bit of a shadow. I'll come in here, I'll give it a shadow, and then what you can do is you can then come in here and throw until it looks like the shadow sort of coming out just a little bit. And again, if you want to put, let's say he's got a tongue. I wasn't fond of doing a big tongue, right? I'm not a big fan of the big tongue, so I always kept my tongue pretty small on him because I just think that if you do too big of a tongue on any character, it looks like a dog who's basically needs a drink or something like that. I've never seen anybody with a big tongue that I've actually been afraid of in any kind of drawing in comic books of any kind. So we'll have that tongue up in here. We'll come in with some more blacks. Now remember, at this point now, we've got to start giving him, you know, he's got a pretty strong, let me get my brush a little bit. He's got a pretty strong jawline. So we need to sort of flare out the jaw just a little bit up over here. right? We'll poke the jaw out just a little bit on this side, come up in here, get really sort of, here's going to be his lip now underneath here, so we got to give him a little bit of form with it. And anything, look at, I'm drawing on a computer, so anything I mess up, I have the luxury of being able to come in there and cut some white in there. So I don't know how the rest of you are drawing your stuff, but give him a fairly significant skull because I think that he should be pretty meaty. Like I said, he should be pretty big. And then we'll just sort of feather some of this stuff off. All right, now I'll come in here, thin out the head just a little bit. And now we'll get into real quickly, you know, he's got a neck. All right, we got to get him into the neck. And again, these are just muscle lines, so I'm just going to throw them real quick. I can do all the feathering and stuff later that I normally would be doing. This will be the back of him right in here. He's got big, strong back on him. And then he'd come up over here, and he's got big shoulders, right? He's just this big hulking dude, right? So again, I always thought of him more like the Hulk, that he should be sort of big and giant. And now if I take my drawing tool here, I should be able to finish some of this stuff real quick here. Boom, right? Boom. I'll even get some feathering in it up over here. Boom. Come up in here. Let's fill all this up in black. Let's fill this up in black. 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 And now we can come in here and cut in. Remember, he had these sort of spider web, right? He had these spider legs on him, so we'll cut those in white. There we go. And if I come now in here, even in the head, so I'm trying to get, whoops, I gotta go back to my brush. If I'm trying to fill some of this in, if you want, you can just literally, watch this, you can just literally just draw in black. I can throw all this in black and just go there. And then I can come in there with the white brush, and then all that stuff that I was trying to do, like the highlights, I can throw those in a little bit later, right? If you pull it back, see here, now I can start putting in his pissed off, wrinkled looks, right? I'll give him a little bit of saliva up on this side, right? You want to make the wrinkles kind of big and long. Why? Because it seems like the longer they are, the more it seems like his scowl is going to be there. I can cut some wrinkles here. Make sure that he's got a lip up in here. Come in here, over on this side, show some up in here. And then I can throw these little tiny lines in here that will then give me a little bit of shading and make it seem just a little bit more believable on it. So I'll be winding down here pretty quick because I know you guys don't like to watch these videos too long. But essentially, like I said, you can get the Venom real quickly because he's just big and he's black, right? So if you just sort of keep those two things in there, and he's got some gnarly teeth, you're gonna get to him. You're gonna get to him real quickly. We'll put some shade right here on his chest. Again, cut some lines and put some veins on this side. Put some veins on this side. And again, it looks a little sloppy, but if you go a little bit smaller, right? Look at that. Looks cool now, right? Oops, I'm not that small, Todd. So go back to here, build up the head just a little bit, fill in some shadows up in here, fill in some shadows up in here so he looks bigger. And then the creme de la creme, I get to put Toddy on it. T-O-D-D-Y, Big Bad Toddy. Anyways, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Venom, you can do him. He's easy. Big eyes, right? Opposite of me, whole check opposite of me. Not white with black eyes, black with white eyes. Go home, try it. Thanks for watching. Bye.